Greetings and salutations, and finally, at long last, I get around to covering the Avengers Assemble movie. I still don't get that name. It doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. So, what do we have for Avengers Assemble? We have the formation of the Assembles. Formation of the Avengers. Duh. But, of course, it is loyal to the comics, I believe, in the same way that Earth's Mightiest Heroes was, in the fact that the Avengers were formed by the actions of Loki, who, after the events of the first Thor movie, has found himself some unusual allies. Or rather, they found him, giving him power, giving him army to command. He is not the same person, in terms of things, as he was in the Thor movie. He is as even more arrogant than ever, believing that humanity needs someone to watch over them, someone to remove their freedom so they can enjoy life yet again, and he was to give them that. He wanted to be a king, and he was to do it however he could. He steals the Tesseract, and does so gloriously, kicking ass in the process, taking over two men's minds in the process, one of them being Hawkeye, and the other being the Professor from the Thor movie. Because both he needed to work on the Tesseract and to gather the materials to open a portal which would allow the arrival of this army, who, if you look at it, is kind of Giga-esque in design. Unpleasant looking at, and mixed with, whatever. We see the old faces from the Shield being, of course, Nick Fury, ever played by Samuel L. Jackson, loving it up. We see Scarlet returning as Natasha. We see Coulson, whatever his goddamn name is, returning again. And of course, unlike in Iron Man 2, their roles are a hell of a lot better. Does the Avengers Assemble film make up for the Iron Man 2 lacking qualities? The film's good, but no. Iron Man 2 can seriously do without that heavy Shield influence. This was Tony Stark trying to deal with a life-threatening condition and the arrival of Whiplash and Jason Hammer. But we get the heavy influence of S.H.I.E.L.D. playing into that, taking down Stark's role when he really been so focused on doing it. And as for Scarlet's role as the Black Widow, did we really need her there? Was she nothing more, really, than fan service? Was this simply a case of pro-sexism at work, putting them in there just because she was female? That will leave it up to you, but seriously, I think Hawkeye and Black Widow could have done with their own movie to show off who they were, rather than playing second fiddle to others. We have Fury calling up the different characters who would go on to form the Avengers. Natasha is sent to collect Bruce Banner, talking him into coming along, and Coulson goes to collect Stark, who doesn't go with them at first. Fury goes to collect Captain America, Steve Rogers, and Thor shows up in his own because of reasons which will be covered later. This is a story of the bonding of the group, of Loki's machinations to divide and splinter them, to strike at the heart of each, at their personal pains, to weaken them and to destroy them. But it doesn't quite work out, as Stark puts it later on that he basically pisses off every last one of them, and they will be all coming for him. Ultimately, in the end, one final push was needed to get the team working, and that came with the death of Coulson. He made a stand against Loki. That cost him his life. He still got a shot in that sent Loki flying, and then Nick Fury uses his death to get the group working together, to give the team heart and the drive to do it. So, let's cover the main plot of things. So, what shall we go next? Oh yes, the characters. I covered Nick Fury. Let's put it this way: Nick Fury, Natasha running off, and Clint, Hawkeye, they're all rather dodgy characters, but then this is part of who they are, part of their jobs. I should cover, but with Nick Fury, it's a simple case of he's doing what he has to get the job done. Clint is, for the most part of it, he's under the influence of Loki, And later on, when he's freed of that by Natasha, it's basically he's out for revenge. He's out to make him pay for what he's done. Because he feels guilty for the blood on his hands. But if you want to really look at it another way, the whole bit of free will and mind control is you cannot control someone to the extent where they would do something against their own moral code. And since Clint was, well, killing a fair few people, you had to ask about that. But then as Tag summed up, both of them, two super agent assassins. We get Tony Stark. He is, as ever, the same playboy, arrogant git who is pushing buttons. He taunts Captain America. He's bonding with Bruce Banner on an intellectual level. He's poking to get a response from him on an angry level. We got Captain America, who's ever the soldier, who at first is very much believing in the cause of S.H.I.E.L.D., but then the things that Banner and Bruce pull up starts him questioning things. Banner he's a low-key role. He's rather not the most in front of your face sort of thing going on. He is just trying to get his job done. He's trying to get his life done. He basically remarks at one point about trying to kill the Hulk and how on the lowest point he basically tried to kill himself, put a bullet up through his mouth, but it just didn't work. So he changed his mind. He changed so that he can make a difference. We got Thor, who Odin basically has conjured a lot of power just to get him back on Earth. He's appealing to his brother for a better nature, for their shared history of how they grew up, how they were basically brothers. And when that fails, it comes down to that he is the self-appointed guardian of Earth. And he isn't about to let Loki proclaim himself king where they don't need it. And then finally, we get Natasha rolling off, Black Widow. And I shall sum up her through a Tumblr post I basically nabbed. I can't remember who put it, but I'm going to quote it for you. Hey, guys. Hey, do you remember that Coslin called Natasha and she ended up forming the Avengers? Remember how she did that by digging up Bruce Banner and introducing Steve to him? Then was the voice of reason when Tony and Steve were bickering. And when she brought Clint back from being mind controlled so that they can be a team. Remember that? Remember how the Black Widow outsmarted the god? Remember that time she kept her shit together when Hulk attacked her, even though she was really scared? Remember when she knocked an alien off his flying scooter and figured out how to drive it despite being extraterrestrial tech? Then she got her ass up top of Stark Tower, found Loki's staff and saved the world from being invaded by turning off the machine. Remember how she was the central character of the whole freaking movie? This was added to by... Anyone else remember that? I sure do. And remember, they didn't sexualize her. Remember how she was independent and didn't male crutch. Remember how Loki implied that she needed a man? She completely tore him down. Remember how Natasha Romanoff didn't take shit from anybody, especially not a man? People called her a bad role model. I don't see it how. The way the film plays out, everyone plays their role. No one eclipses the other. Natasha is a backbone to the group. She is the voice of reason to keep things together. Steve Rogers became the leader, the plan maker, and so on and so on. Through the strife they faced when Loki tried to take him down, they reunited, even though Nick Fury basically martyred Coulson to do it. And then what we get is a half-hour battle, I believe, where Loki has basically struck at the heart of Stark's empire to open the portal. Everyone has their moment to shine. Oh, Clint is just an archer, he's just shooting arrows. How's he going to face an army? Bloody well he does. There are not many that get a hit on Loki. Let's put it this way. Coulson gets his shot because Loki underestimated him. Clint gets his shot because, yet again, Loki just thinks he's a normal arrow that he shots at him. He is fighting on near even terms with his brother, Thor, And ultimately he is flattened by the Hulk in one of the film's two most amusing scenes, both of them featuring the Hulk. Here we have characters being developed, bonding, working as a group, of the outside forces that would tear them apart, of those who are trying to unite them. We have Loki being scheming, sly, he's basically a weasel who's at top of his game. We have the shadowy council who sit in badly lit rooms who are pulling the strings behind the scenes, and how Nick Fury is not going to take any nonsense from them. He believed first in the Avengers initiative, building only the weapons that cause strife during the middle part of the film as a secondary option. What do I say to this film? It's a good film. It's a good, enjoyable film. No one is used badly. It just doesn't feel like anyone is wasted. They don't overshadow one another. And still not letting off Iron Man 2 for the whole S.H.I.E.L.D. thing going on that just lessened the effect. We got two little Easter eggs at the end of the credits. One was the reveal of who the army came from that Loki was to command. And it was the Titan Thanatos, who I don't know much about, other than he appeared in the Silver Surfer animated series from the 90s. And then there was the group, the Avengers, all sitting down to have pizza. Yeah, that's one way of ending it. A quick little summary comparing Avengers Assemble to a couple of other movies. One is Transformers Dark of the Moon, pretty much the same thing going on, but instead of actually getting good character development and interaction, we got barely any characterizations, and ultimately the Transformers were treated as just things to be thrown away. Thus, Transformers loses out. And then we got The Dark Knight Rises. Dear God, that title's awful. Having watched it only once so far, what can I say about that one? It's a decent enough film, but I didn't enjoy it. There were problems with it. There was Gordon's stupid choice to send every cop down into the sewers. And then there was a whole bit about that sort of police officer who went under the label of robbing at the end, when you quite clearly worked out this is who you were. This is who you were replacing. Dark Knight Rises and The Avengers Assemble are not comparable. They are handled differently. Dark Knight Rises is handled too realistically. And dear God, that Bane was... If you know Janie Heineman from Mythbusters, I swear he could have done a better job as Bane than this guy. You barely understood what he was saying because of the bloody mask. But still, jumping back, Avengers Assemble, the characters are well used. The plot works along these stages of recruitment, strife, unification, and the end fight. It doesn't treat any of its characters lowly, or sexualizes them, or just uses them cheaply. They all have their moments. Normally I am not one for the whole idea of superheroes united. It just feels like it could go so wrong, where others could overshadow one another. But as I keep on bleeding on about, Avengers Assemble does it well. Joss Whedon is doing what he does best. So, this is it. This is me for now. Until the next video, take care.